In the new year, Mickey Mouse is officially in the public domain.
Boy.
Well, sorta. Steamboat Willie, which is the first cartoon appearance of Mickey Mouse, is in the public domain, and entertainment companies are champing at the bit to finally be able to use the mouse. I'm Troy from Marks on Media, and today we're talking about the worst fear of the Walt Disney Corporation coming true. Now, on with the story. The links to the articles I'm covering can be found in the video description. Let's start by setting the stage with this article from the Daily Mail. Disney's earliest Mickey Mouse enters the public domain. Steamboat Willie made cinema history in 1928 and can now be used and watched for free after copyright expires. Media from the 1928 short film are now available in the U.S. public domain. Steamboat Willie can now be legally shared, performed, sampled, and more. Other copyrights expired today, including Minnie Mouse and Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Although this appears to be a long-awaited moment in the entertainment industry, it can lead to media ventures that will possibly become a political lightning rod in pop culture.
Not a great plan.
My first thought on this was honestly the Daily Wire. They're huge trolls about stuff like this. When Harry's razors pissed them off, they dropped Jeremy's razors and made a mint on it. When Hershey's was seen supporting certain issues involving children, DW started selling Jeremy's chocolates. When Disney, Netflix, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon were out loud and proud about their left-leaning political agenda involving kids' content, Daily Wire came out with Bentkey, with tons of non-political children's shows, and with all the controversy surrounding the upcoming Snow White live-action Disney movie starring Rachel Zegler, we're getting Snow White and the Evil Queen starring Brett Cooper from the Daily Wire. With this pattern, I'm sure that it will only be a matter of time before we see DW develop their own Winnie the Pooh cartoon, and most certainly a Mickey and Minnie Mouse cartoon. But let's get back to the article. According to U.S. copyright law, rights to works like Steamboat Willie expired 95 years after the original publication was released or registered by officials if the projects were released before 1978. One dark truth behind it all is how seriously that copyright law had been taken in the past and how it's affected the Mickey Mouse character. Disney has a long history of battles with the copyright law that have caused problems for cartoonists like Dan O'Neill. The company sued O'Neill for copyright infringement after the artist published a 1971 comic book that featured Mickey Mouse smuggling substances and performing mouth relations on Minnie Mouse.
What? What the fuck?
Good God, I didn't know that part. I'm learning right along with you guys today. In Disney's defense, I'd get pretty fired up about that one too, and I'd also get in a sue-happy mood. After all, back then, Disney at least pretended to care about being a family-friendly, kid-oriented brand.
Yes, that's what we wanted you to think.
You don't want who is essentially your mascot out there smuggling illegal substances and giving a little bit of the scratch and sniff to another one of your characters in a comic book. Anyway, back to the article. O'Neill agreed not to draw Mickey again after an 8-year court battle and told Variety last month that if he draws a character, he will owe Walt Disney a $190,000 fine, $10,000 more for legal fees, and a year in prison. It's even led for Disney to support a bill called the Sonny Bono Copyright Term Extension Act. The act, known as the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, being implemented was what saved Steamboat Willie for being in a public domain 20 years ago. This has been a subject of lots of public debate over a half a century. It's funny that it was brought about by one half of Sonny and Cher. Also, this copyright stranglehold lasted longer than he did.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
But I digress. Let's take a peek at an article from the New York Times. These classic Disney characters are losing copyright protection. They may never be the same. What could happen to the original versions of Mickey Mouse and others after they entered the public domain on January 1st? Hint, think Winnie the Pooh wielding a sledgehammer. In 2024, thousands of copyrighted works published in 1928 are entering the public domain after their 95-year term expires. This means that those characters and stories can be remade on the page, stage, or screen without permission. The creme de la creme of this year's public domain class are Mickey Mouse and, of course, Minnie, or at least black and white versions of our favorite squeaky rodents that appear in Steamboat Willie. Disney is famously litigious, and this copyright only covers the original versions of the character. Tigger will also be liberated on January 1st and could soon be reunited with Winnie the Pooh in the reborn character's next slasher film. Yes, you read that right. In a preview of what could be awaiting other 95-year-old icons, the silly old bear became a sledgehammer-wielding monster in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The sequel is slated for February. Then there's J.M. Barrie's stage version of Peter Pan, or The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up, the D.H. Lawrence novel Lady Chatterley's Lover, Virginia Woolf's Orlando, a Biography, Wanda Gaig's picture book Millions of Cats, and many more. As much as I want to vomit thinking about more slasher films involving beloved Disney characters of the past.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
We could see more companies with actual respect for the past pick up these characters and these stories and actually do something productive with them that will entertain children and families as a whole in the coming years. Maybe studios besides just the Daily Wire, for God's sake. I don't want to see a conservative Peter Pan, Mickey Mouse, or Winnie the Pooh. But I also don't want to see the original ideas for the characters and their stories subverted and turned on their heads in the name of modern messaging. We kind of know what to expect for Disney at this point. So far, Mickey, Minnie, and Winnie the Pooh have escaped being wokeified, but they're under the Disney banner, and Disney has given themselves a black eye in the past almost decade at this point. However, you've got to take the good with the bad. Some gamers and horror enthusiasts may be happy about the last thing I want to cover with this story, but I'm personally facepalming. Let's take a look at this article from IGN. Mickey Mouse-inspired horror game Infestation 88 announced. Oh no. Who could have foreseen this? Nightmare Forge Games has announced Infestation 88, a new 1-to-4 player survival horror co-op game that aims to infuse nostalgia with terror, in the vein of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, by twisting the now in the public domain Steamboat Willie into something much scarier. It's in development for PC. The developers describe it as such. In the year 1988, what was thought to be an outbreak of rodents in various locations morphed into something far more sinister. Sometimes you'll need to fight, sometimes you'll need to run, and sometimes you'll need to hide in a locker. You can set traps and utilize CCTV cameras to try to stay one step ahead of the infestation, and item layouts and randomized in order to help keep matches fresh. There's also a gangster-style FPS game that looks to be similar to Cuphead called Mouse, coming out in 2025. That was just announced. IGN has the description for the game. Join private detective John Mouston in Mouse, a gritty jazz-fueled with blazing and a retro rubber hose animation style. Battle your way through a corrupt city full of crooks and danger. Inspired by classic FPS and noir films, Mouse is an explosive you've been waiting for.
Why?
Ugh. Whatever. People will pay for these for sure. People will play both of these games, no doubt about that. It's done for the meme. I get it. I respect the hustle. These just aren't for me.
Why is no one having a good time? I specifically requested it.
But as I said earlier, you've got to take the good with the tons of bad that's definitely going to come from this new development.
I want to throw up and kill myself.
Comment with your thoughts on all of this. Do you like that Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Tigger, and others are now in the public domain? Are you upset about it? Is there anything that you're hopeful to see out of all of this? And are you going to play Infestation 88 or Mouse? Let me know in the comment section. Also, please share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I've been Troy from Marks on Media, and we'll see you next time.